you are feeling some deja vu, we don't blame you. It hasn't even been a year since the 2022 midterms. Economic problems, big headwinds for Democrats, and Republicans ready to pounce. We know the GOP profoundly screwed up the 2022 midterms and snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, thanks in large part to Donald Trump picking some really awful candidates. And now he's not picking the candidates. Donald Trump is once again the candidate.
Every time they file an indictment, we go way up in the polls. We need one more indictment to close out this election. One more indictment, and this election is closed out. Nobody has even a chance.
Sure, there's some Republican primary voters who are going to put that on a bumper sticker, but complaining about indictments doesn't fix gas prices, won't fix interest rates, and it certainly won't stand up to China. Yet Trump remains the odds-on favorite to be the Republican nominee. Real Clear Politics polling shows him with a 38-point lead. Joining me now, NewsNation contributor, host of the No Spin News, Bill O'Reilly. Good to see you. All right. Am I on to something that you got 2022, Trump picked all these candidates, so winnable, and then they just all fell apart because of swing voters?
I don't think this election is going to be a reflection of what happened in the past. It's going to be a very intense culture war election with a grocery store component. So I don't think Joe Biden's going to be the Democratic nominee. He's declining very rapidly, in my opinion, both mentally and physically. There'll be more very embarrassing revelations about his relationship with Hunter and his brother Jim Biden. There's no doubt that they used the Biden name to grift foreign nations into paying them tens of millions of dollars. Joe Biden had to know about it. He said he didn't know about it, and on and on and on and on. So the Republican Party's got to decide what 3 or 4 issues do they want to highlight. It can't be just Trump's a victim, which is what it is now. And the GOP stalwart are buying that Donald Trump's a victim. When you have 77 felony charges lodged against you, with more coming in Georgia, and every single one of them is coming out of a Democratic precinct, the Republicans kind of get that the fix is in. And so they're standing by their man. They're rallying behind Trump. But if he does get the nomination, and it looks like he will, then the Republican Party's got to pivot to some kind of platform. Are they capable of that? I don't know if they're capable of it. I just don't know.
Well, isn't that whether Donald Trump is capable of it? You think about it, Donald Trump is the guy who decides what Donald Trump talks about, and mostly he talks, at least these days, about himself. I want you to look at this. DeSantis right now given an 8.7% chance of winning the GOP nomination. Vivek Ramaswamy, who we'll have a town hall with on Monday, 8.9. Former President Donald Trump way ahead at 71.1%. So these are the betting odds. These aren't poll numbers. But it feels as though there is in the same way that you point out, the inevitability of Joe Biden may not be so inevitable. There is beginning to be questions about whether the inevitability of Donald Trump is so inevitable.
I don't see, listen, I think DeSantis is going to do much better once the campaign really starts to roll. I mean, you got to give the guy a break. He's never run for national office. He did a good job, in my opinion, in Florida. He's got the culture war stuff on his side. I think he'll rise in the polls. If Trump doesn't show up for the debate at the end of August and DeSantis does well, you'll see a bump there for him. So at this point, early August, everything's going to change by Halloween. Everything. And nobody can really predict how that will go down. But the Republican Party should be thinking about 3 or 4 issues that they can trot out where Donald Trump is strong, other than Donald Trump's a victim, on and on and on and on. That I don't think is a winner. I don't.
Look, it wasn't a winner in 2022, and you talk about the culture war. In 2022, I get the culture war, and people respond to it. Certainly the primary electorate responds to it. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.